The grooming gangs. Yes, I'm using that word because of YouTube restrictions on what you can put in the first 2 minutes of a video. I'm not caving, I just want you to see the video. I am going to be playing a short video clip of a speech made in 2018 by a member of the House of Lords. And this is why the House of Lords is important, because people like Lord Pearson of Rannoch could not be a politician in the elected sense. But being a sort of independent character, free from the ideas of being elected, he can bring up a subject which was obviously not a popular one at the time. And that's why I'm playing it to you now, because I want to point out one of the major reasons why the grooming scandal rumbled about under the radar for so long. Because the people, the elite in government, didn't want to hear the message. Right. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. Okay, so this gentleman here is Lord, or this noble lord rather, is Lord Pearson of Rannoch. He was originally elevated to the House of Lords in the Conservative Party, but he then became chairman, somewhere along the line, became chairman of UKIP, the United Kingdom Independence Party, which was a party specifically formed originally to keep Britain out of the European Currency Union and take Britain out of the European Union altogether. The party sort of fell apart, although it seems to be making a comeback now. Never say die when it comes to politics. Anyway, this is Lord Pearson of Rannoch is in the House of Lords because he was appointed there by the Conservatives in 1990, and because of once you're in the House of Lords, unless some earthquake happens, you stay there. You are free to talk about things that the elected politicians can't do. That's why I'm very much in favour of the House of Lords as it is constituted. And of course, the Labour Party are trying to make a mess of it even more. And the Reform Party, which I absolutely disagree with, want to make it an elected institution. I think that is completely wrong. That's just my opinion, of course. But I think there is a point at which not being worried about the election results can give an experienced person the sort of freedom. Claire Fox, for instance, is another example of somebody who would never have made an MP because she's far too loud-mouthed, but she has made some impressive speeches in the House of Lords, and these speeches do have an effect on the political establishment generally. So, let's hear what Lord Rannoch said, and this was in 2018. Now, this is where the political system failed completely, and I want you to notice the reaction of the people. These, remember, they are in the House of Lords. It means they're not worried about elections. They can say what they like. More or less, they're there for life. Let's just hear their reaction to something that Lord Rannoch said.
But accept that if we extrapolate nationally the Jay report on Rotherham and other reports on Telford and Oxford, they appear... Let's look at this. There are quite a few people in the House at the time he made this speech. So it's a reasonable crowd. Oxford, There appear to have been upwards of 250,000 young white girls.
Now, he said 250,000 white girls being raped and abused. There's absolute silence in the House. Now listen to what he says next, and listen to the reaction of the Assembly.
Raped in this century.
Okay, so he said 250,000 young white girls raped in this century. He was talking in 2018. Next.
Very largely by Muslim men. And given these girls...
Did you hear the crowd? Now, this was the House of Lords, so it was a very gentlemanly or gentlewomanly intake of breath. When he said 250,000 young women, girls, had been abused in a most dreadful way, 250,000 at the time, it turns out it's more, but 250,000 is an astonishing figure. Not a peep from anyone in those red leather benches. But when he mentions that it was done by mostly by Muslim men.
50,000 young white girls raped in this century, very largely by Muslim men. And given these girls are usually raped several times a day for years, so, my lords, what is the government's answer to the Chief Constable of Northumbria, who has just said that there is every likelihood that these grooming gangs are operating in every one of our major cities?
Still no intake of breath there. And this is the problem. These people here in the House of Lords, they are, you might call, the elite of the political system. They are not elected, so they're free to think and say what they like, and whatever they say in the House of Lords is, they can say almost anything and not get into trouble with the law. And yet they still had this attitude that if somebody, if somebody mentions the word Muslim in connection with crime, it's definitely got to be unacceptably racist. And that was in 2018. And that is the problem that we have to break into now. We've just got to break this taboo. And who else was breaking that taboo? Well, none other than Tommy Robinson. But he didn't have the protection of the House of Lords when he spoke out against Muslim rape and slavery gangs. And that intake of breath that you heard there in the House of Lords, that was countrywide. And all sorts of people who didn't actually listen to what Tommy Robinson was saying drew in their breath as well, because everyone else was drawing in their breath. So it went right from the top, right down to throughout society. It went right from the top all the way down through society, and of course, especially by politicians. And it was especially an annoyance to the Labour Party, because many of their supporters were, and still are, Muslims. Tommy Robinson has paid very dearly for his breaking of that taboo, and his name is still dirt among many people in these islands. But I think this is going to change pretty soon, because now Elon Musk has weighed in on the argument. This has become a lot more generally discussable. Now people are talking about it. It's not a big secret anymore. As I said in the previous video, these things were kept secret and quiet. So What happened was that you'd hear about court cases, but in little isolated pockets. It's not like a countrywide thing. It was just little reports of something that happened 2 years ago, a year ago maybe, and some arrests, and then a court case, and then it stopped. It wasn't an overarching story, and of course Tommy Robinson was a bad man, wasn't he? So you shouldn't listen to him. And even that way, right, even people like Lord Pearson, they made their speeches in the House of Lords. Did that get, sort of full splash headlines in the red tops? No, not a bit of it. But now it's become a matter of public discussion because of Elon Musk. And Tommy Robinson is being vindicated in the eyes of many people in this country now. People who would have cringed at the very sound of his name once upon a time, well, just a few months ago. Okay, so I just wanted to point out that, first of all, I wanted to thank Elon Musk for what he's doing. I mean, he is interfering in another government's doings, that's for sure. And we have to be careful about praising that too much. But in bringing this awful situation to the attention of everybody, and by embarrassing our government into doing something now, by exposing, well, not only the Labour Party, but all the political parties actually, by exposing them to the disgust of the rest of the world. He's doing, well, you might say, God's work. And more power to his elbow. And Lord Pearson is vindicated, and I hope that this will have some effect on the way Tommy Robinson is treated as well. Of course, you never can tell with this government. They might make things even worse for him now they've been embarrassed in front of the entire global community. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.